Hearty welcome to Jnanarjane, Empowering Excellence. Friends, today we have arranged a very special session on GST to understand the updates in GSTN Portal and practical issues under GST. To understand the updates and the practical issues under GST, to impart knowledge on this, friends, we are really fortunate to have Dr. Raviprasad MP, Additional Commissioner of Commercial Taxes, to enlighten on all the issues about GSTN portal. What are the issues you are facing? To clarify, to make us understand better on the things which they are much more familiar. Who is the better person than Dr. Raviprasad MP? Friends, we requested him. He kindly agreed to participate and he is with us. Let me read out his profile in brief. A person who is very, very passionate about disseminate knowledge. He was representing Karnataka in GST Council meetings. He was part of the drafting of administrative model GST law and have been draftman for e-way bill procedure to all India basis. He is a faculty and trainer in various for the various forums, including officers and organizations. With this brief intro, hearty welcome to Dr. Raviprasad MP. On behalf of Bangalore branch and on behalf of all the participants here, hearty welcome, Dr. Raviprasad. Hearty welcome. Friends, we have our own member, CA Annapurna D Kabra is with us. She is going to impart knowledge on the GST. She is a regular knowledge imparter. She is an author and co-author of several books on indirect taxes, particularly VAT and GST. She is one of the most sought after speaker on indirect taxes across India. She has addressed more than 400 seminars across India, and she has addressed gatherings of chartered accountants, tax practitioners, dealers, and department officers on indirect tax, including GST in various forums. She is currently practicing under the name HSK and Associates. She has contributed e-lecture on various topics in VAT and GST to Indirect Tax Committee of ICAI. She has contributed short videos on certain topics in GST to ICAI. She is a State Tax Committee member of FKCCI. With this very brief introduction, hearty welcome to Madam Annapurna D Kabra. Hearty welcome, ma'am. Members, you are the reason for this program. Now, I think we are nearing 5 years from GST introduction. We thought when GST came in, everyone thought it's very, very simple law. In fact, in the Bangalore bench, we thought that not many programs required for GST. So it is a very, very easy topic. Everyone thought like that. Now, however, it is every week it demands a program on GST because I think it is little complicated. I don't know how complicated it is because I am not into GST practice. Only as a committee member and chairman of Bangalore branch, I know number of programs requirement and regularly members asking conduct that program, conduct this, and that is the reason we are conducting. You are the reason for this program. Maybe the complexity of the GST also demands the program. Anyhow, hearty welcome to each one of you. Happy learning. Friends, today we have invited the GST officer. So I request pose all your questions, clarify all your doubts on the GSTs, whatever issues. He is capable to answer. He is an expert in the subject. So please pose all your queries so that you get the right answer from the horse mouth. With that note, once again, hearty welcome to each one of you. We have arranged many more programs. Tomorrow there is a program on risk assessment. I request all of you to register. And on 11th of this month, clause by clause discussion on direct tax happened in Union Budget 2022. So clause by clause discussion, full days program, it is available both physical and virtual on 11th February, Friday. I request please register that program. Also, many other programs lined up in this month. Please visit bangaloricai.org for all the updates. With that note, once again, hearty welcome to each one of you. Over to Madam. Madam or Sir?
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I thank Bangalore Chairman for accepting to conduct this event in a short notice. And I thank Dr. Raviprasad. We are very fortunate that he has given the time for the Institute and will be sparing his 2 hours for the Institute and will be sharing his knowledge. So we have structured this session as initially half an hour. I will be just updating on the portal updates, last 6 months, whatever the updates have happened in the portal. I will be discussing on that and certain practical issues I will be adding up for 5 minutes. And then we will be having a question answer session with the members. So this is the way we have structured for next 2 hours. So I'll just start the session. So Raviprasad sir, I will just, with your permission, I'll just start the session on technical updates.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes. Then we can, in between, I request you, sir, anything you want to add it up in that feature or anything you want to add on that topic, you can add your points in between, sir. So I'll be just discussing on the updates in the GSTN portal, sir. So
Sure.
that is, yes, sir. So with this, let us start the presentation. Sorry, just I think it's taking 1 minute. I think the program itself is beginning with the technical glitch as the topic is on. Sir, you're able to view, sir?
No, not yet come.
Just 1 second, sir. It's getting loaded.
Yes, now it is.
Yes. Technical person can connect me for 1 minute. I'm not able to move the screen.
Suraj, please help
Yes.
her.
Yes, madam. I'll call.
Madam, the first slide is visible now.
Well, but I don't know, some technical glitch. The next slide is not able to move. Okay, I'll just share it with.
Yeah, you should just continue with that.
Yeah.
Even slide is not there. I think it's okay.
Yeah. We can manage. No issues. ಇದು BLR ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ.
Yes, madam. Now it is working.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. So I think we are going to discuss. So first of all, I apologize for certain technical glitch while sharing the screen of this presentation. So for next 45 minutes, we'll be discussing on all the latest updates in the portal. And if you have any issues, you can put your issues in the chat box. Then we'll be interacting with our additional commissioner, Dr. Raviprasad, and we'll be taking his view, and we'll try to resolve all the issues under the GST law. So first screen itself is giving the very informations, because we know that today the GST law is a technology based driven law. It is based on technology. So we have to get updated not only under the GST law, but also we have to get updated in the GSTN portal, because frequently we are able to see that a lot of updates are being updated, features are being added in the GSTN portal. So with that, the session is conducted with the objective of giving an update in the GSTN portal in last 6 to 7 months. And in addition to that, we'll be discussing on the practical issues under the GST law. So the very important feature we have to understand is GST law, as we all know, it is, I think I need not tell much on this, because we all are working on this portal, and it is a very robust system. And recently in the budget, I think you would have seen that even this website of www.gst.gov has been notified as a common portal under the GST law for all the purposes other than e-invoicing and e-waybill generation, because e-invoicing and e-waybill generation is regulated under NIC. So that is the reason it has been excluded from the portal of website of gst.gov.in. And very frequently we are able to see that in last 4 years, whatever the amendments are happening in the GST law, it is not getting, at the same time, we are not able to see that it has been synchronized or it has been updated immediately in the GSTN portal. So many times we see that there is a lot of inconsistency or synchronizations between the GST law and GSTN portal. So that is the one thing I think we have to be very clear looking into the amendments in the GST law, and simultaneously we have to look at whether it has been updated in the GSTN portal. I think many times we are aware that there is a time limit to make corrections or rectifications or omissions in the Gstr1 pertaining to the financial year. Say for example, financial year 2021, you have the time limit to update up to, you have the time limit to make rectifications within the September month of the financial year. But if you see the portal, it keeps on, you can amend the GSTR1 pertaining to even the earlier previous year also, like 17, 18, 18, 19 or 19, 20. Because the portal is allowing, we are able to update the, make a corrections of the previous year. But actually, if you see the law, it is allowed, as per the law, you can make rectifications or omissions in the GSTR1 only till the September of the financial year, following financial year. So I think there is always a inconsistency between the GST law and GSTN portal. So this we have to keep it in mind, and accordingly we have to look into the compliances under the respective law. And basically we are seeing that last 1 or 2 years, though there was a lot of pandemic in between and lot of there was a stopgap in the business, but still we are able to see that there is a lot of amendments which have been brought under the GST law, and the policymakers are quite proactive and bringing amendments from time to time. And I think after reading the budget amendments, I think a big change is required in the GSTN portal. The way the budget has been formed, and it is yet to be notified, but I think that will definitely bring out a very massive amendment in the GSTN portal with the, in case if it is getting notified. And the current budget is giving a vision of fully automated ecosystem. So we are able to see that the way the features are getting added in the GSTN portal, the way the compliances are made online. So as it is reducing totally manual interactions with the officers. So I think we are able to see that the GSTN will definitely fulfill the vision of fully automated ecosystems. So this is what a brief background of the GSTN portal. And as of now, we are able to see that it is providing a lot of functions like registrations or returns or tax payment or settlement or a lot of reports, business intelligence report, analytics reports. We are able to get it only from the GSTN portal. So I think this is what we have to get into that. So I think this, the very important is many times we were facing the issues of filing the refund applications periodically. So now they have made it very simplified refund applications under the GST law, and you can file it considering the number of years. You need not file for each month or quarter. You can file it for multiple financial years. So I think that feature has been added in the GSTN portal. So that is first update, which you can select the period. Like for example, you want to file one refund application for 3 years or 2 years or whatever the period you want to select. You can select it, and accordingly you can file one applications, single applications, rather than filing multiple applications. Then the next very important update which has been happened is Gst Pmt 9. Many times we want to pay the interest, but if you see in the cash ledger, you are finding that cash is deposited against the tax amount. So this, whenever you find such and you want to pay the cash for interest or penalty, you can generate a form Gst Pmt 9 where you can shift your cash from the tax component to interest component or penalty component or fee component. So interhead adjustment is possible in the Gst Pmt 9. So I think that you can look into that. Then next is taxpayers are required to log in GSTN portal. So how they have to do is they have to log in this portal, and they have to go to that ledgers, electronic cash ledger. And if you go in that electronic cash ledger, you can file you can find file GSTR Pmt 9 for transferring the amount. So this facility is there in the GSTN portal. You did not again deposit the cash in the cash ledger. You can transfer from one component to the other component for payment of that amount. Then the very next important aspect is additional time to reply and adjournment request for personal hearing. So many times we want to file a reply for extension. So we need not file this manually. If you want to take some time for replying the notice or for going for personal hearing, in the website itself, you can go to the notice acknowledgement column. And in that, if you can select that acknowledgement and notice, you can file your reply for your adjournment or for the additional time. So this feature was not there earlier. Now this feature has been enabled. Then we have next is, so how you have to file it. You have to go for, you have to give when is your time for hearing, when you're looking for adjournment of hearing, what is the due date for the SCN, and how much time you are requiring. All those details should be filled in this respective column of notice or acknowledgement. Then the next very important aspect is request to recredit the rejected refund. I think many of us are not aware of this, but I think when we are filing the refund applications, and if some refund is getting rejected for whatever reasons, for example, in the case of inverted duty structure, if you have filed the refund for input services, and based on VKC footsteps, now the refund on input services are not eligible. So that will lie in your electronic credit ledger. So you can make a request online itself to recredit the rejected refund in the electronic credit ledger itself. So I think this feature is also added, and definitely a lot of assessees, we are able to see that that still amount is lying. So you can make use of this feature and get recredited the rejected refund, and it will get credited to your electronic credit ledger. Then next important feature is communications between recipient and suppliers taxpayer on the GSTN portal. So this is also will be helpful. There can be communications between the supplier and the taxpayer in the portal itself regarding any missing documents or any shortcoming. You need not reproduce a separate mail for that vendor. You can even communicate to the portal to the respective vendors or the recipient, as the case may be. Then recently we are able to see that there is a deployment of interest calculator in Gstr3B. I think definitely it will be really helpful to many of the GS taxpayers, because many times you are just spending the amount to compute the interest periodically and for the respective periods. So I think this interest calculator, which has been integrated in the Gstr3B, will definitely help to compute the interest periodically according to the period for which the liability is being feeded in your Gstr3B. So it will definitely help for your self-assessment. So this is way it has been. It is like similar to the collection of late fees, how it is auto-computed. Even the interest will also be computed accordingly. So they have just come out with that formula also, as we all are aware. How many days delay has happened till the actual filing date, it will compute, and the date of your filing into rate of interest. I think we all are aware now they are going to come out with a uniform rate of interest of 18%. Divided by number of days in a year. So this will help us to compute the return itself will automatically compute your interest, and accordingly it will be reflected. So you need not do any manual computations for computation of interest. Then I think this is the way the screen is viewed for paying the interest. So if you can see here, make payment or post credit to ledger. So after this, when you enter this column, I think after that you can compute the interest, and accordingly it will be verified. So this is quite self-explanatory. I need not much go into that, but you have to look into this respective template, like make payment or post credit to ledger. After that only you can go for the payment of interest. So this is where it will be reflected. And very important is, if you want to change the informations which has been, like for example, if the Gstr3B is showing the computation of interest, say 56,000, and you want to change it to 50,000 or 45,000, or as the case may be, then it will show as a red mark and you are not able to amend it. So it will give like a warning that you cannot change the interest. So I think that is what they have formulated in the respective Gstr3B. So you cannot do any manual changes in the automated computed interest. Then next important amendment is happening is Gstr registrations are getting cancelled if your input tax credit in Gstr3B is more than 10% of Gstr2B. I think this will again will get amended after this budget, but because in the budget they are going to specify the percentage between this Gstr2B and Gstr3B. But as of now, if you have taken any credit in your Gstr3B, more than 10% of the Gstr2B, like for example, if your 2B is showing 1 lakh and if you have taken your credit more than 1,10,000, then it will give us a red figure for that. And definitely they are saying that the registration will also get cancelled if it is. There is a lot of variance between your Gstr2B and Gstr3B. But many times we are able to see that there is a variance because of reverse charge credit or because of any other reasons. So in that case, I think it will get linked with your electronic cash ledger. And if you are making that reverse charge credit with the payment of your reverse charge, I think that will take care, and accordingly you can file your Gstr3B. Then very important is this is like a statistics data which we are able to get it now in the portal itself. They have enabled a new functionality, that is liability paid percentage on your Gstr portal. So this will give details of what was your liability in the previous financial year for the respective, what is the percentage of your liability, and what is the percentage of liability which is representing in the Gstr1 and that was paid in your Gstr3B. So I think this will give certain percentage to see that whether there is any variance between the payment of the previous year and the current financial year. So now we cannot file any Gstr1 or 3B on ad hoc basis because simultaneously the liability will also get depicted in your portal. Then next we are having a very important update on this Hsn Code functionality. I think this will definitely help a lot of taxpayers today to understand the Hsn classifications, because we are able to see that there is a lot of disparity between the trade associations today on this Hsn classifications between many trade communities or respective business sectors, where we are able to see that they are following a different Hsn code or different SAC code depending upon the trade. So to have a uniformity and to understand the Hsn classifications, they have inbuilt this Hsn code functionality in the portal itself, where the taxpayer can search the Hsn code and applicable technical description through common phase. So the new functionality will definitely help the taxpayer to search Hsn code by providing description or part of the description. So how they have to get it? They have to go to home services, user services, in that they can search a Hsn code. So I think this will definitely help you to classify your products or services as the case may be. So this is where the screen will look, and accordingly very important is when you are going to search, you have to put at least three first character of your product. For example, software services, you have to put SOFT, at least that you have to put, and maximum you can put of 40 characters. So you can write your description of your product, or you can write Hsn also. Accordingly, it will help you out to find out the Hsn for your product in your portal. So as already I've told, minimum it should have 3 characters and maximum you can fill up to 40 characters. And very important is that only alphanumeric characters are allowed. Special characters will not be allowed when you are searching. So be careful on that. And when you're searching, you can get first 4-digit Hsn code, and the related 6-digit and 8-digit will also be shown under other related Hsn code. So I think this will help. And still, if you are able to see that your Hsn code, whatever is showing in the GSTN portal, is not matching with the Hsn what you are classifying in your classification, you can raise a ticket. Or if you are not able to find Hsn for your product, you can raise a ticket on GSTN self-service portal. You can go to this website of the self-service.gst system in, and you can get a clarification on your Hsn for your goods and services. Then very important update which has happened in the portal is now integrations of this appeal module. It was working partially earlier, but now we are able to file the appeal completely in this portal. So enforcement module has now been integrated with this appeal module. So the taxpayer can file online appeal against the order passed by the enforcement officer. So this will definitely help, or integration of appeal module with the assessment module. So I think this will definitely help the SSC to file the appeal through electronically. Now very important is that you have to type the order of this order number and order type. That will help. First you have to type, and then accordingly you can file the appeal. In some of the situations we are able to see that SSC is able to get the manual order. So in that case they are not able to file the appeal electronically. So in that circumstances they have to meet to the respective jurisdiction and get the information on that why they are, then they can file the appeal manually in that case. So the next is this reporting of supplies notified under 9.5. As we all are aware that there is an amendment from 1st January 2022 where e-commerce operators are liable to pay GST instead of restaurant. So they have specifically given a classification how the reporting should be made in 3B by electronic commerce operator. They have to make a reporting in table 3.1.a of 3B, and restaurant, whoever is supplying through e-commerce operator, they also have to declare it in 3.1.c along with the nil and exempted supply. So this is the way the specific clarification is made for the declaration of their turnover. Then very important is this implementation of Rule 59 sub Rule 6 as amended in the GSTN portal. I think this we read some 2 months back, saying that if you are not going to file your 3B for preceding month, then you may not be able to file the Gstr1 of the current month. But now instead of preceding 2 months, they have made it as 1 month saying that if you have not filed the Gstr3B for the previous month, you cannot file the Gstr1 for the current month. So now if you see in the budget amendment, they have made it that if you are not filing the Gstr1 of the current month itself, you may not be able to file Gstr3B of the current month. I think that is yet to be notified. But as of now, they have reduced from 2 months to 1 month for filing the this Gstr1. So the crux is that if you are not filing Gstr3B of preceding month, you are not given the privilege to file Gstr1 of the current month. Then the next important amendment is this mandatory Aadhaar authentications for the registered person. So here we have a notifications where they have stated that they have to see that their Aadhaar is authenticated, and it is really mandatory in certain circumstances. Like if you're filing an applications for revocation of cancellation of registration in GST 21, or if you're filing refund applications under Rule 89, or if you're filing in the case of exports of goods or services under Rule 96, in all these above circumstances, the Aadhaar authentication is mandatory, and without that, they are not going to proceed on that. And in case if you are not having any Aadhaar authentication and still you want to apply for this refund or any other cases, in that cases, they have given an option for you to upload your bank passbook with your photographs. You can update your voter identity card or passport or driving license as the case may be. So in that case, you have to go to the dashboard. In my profile, you can file. It is quite self-explanatory. You can upload these documents and get it authenticated. So this is what I think. If you can see in the portal itself, you can see that you want to send Aadhaar authentication link or upload your eKYC documents. So if you are going with eKYC documents, you can upload. You can press it that and you can do the further procedure on that. The next is very important is lot of amendments are still awaited in Gstr1, but as of now, they have quite made a big amendments in the Gstr1 from last 3 to 4 months. We are able to see that they have changed the way that it is reflected in your portal, because if you can see that they have reorganized this Gstr1 dashboards. Now it is grouped into 2 sections, namely add record details and amend record details. So if you can see the screen, and if you are able to see the green signal says that it has been processed. So now you can make a classifications. Now you can see like how many invoices are there in B2B, how you can count it also, because it will also show the number of invoices in that portal. So if you can see here, you are able to see that you can add the invoices, or you can, if the one which is red mark is incomplete, it is yet to be filled with other details. But if you see it is green color, it has been processed. So you have to be very careful. It will give a lot of self-explanatory informations, and it will help you out to understand why it is not getting processed. So you can amend the details whichever has been, you want to amend it in table 9 in Gstr1. So now they have made it very separate tiles for that. And each invoices will give the status whether it has been processed, because many times what happens, we file all the details and we'll be keep on searching which invoice is not getting processed. So if you are able to bifurcate, and each tile will give the informations which is not is getting processed, I think that will really help us out to understand the system actually. Then this red color is, as already I've told you, this will give the informations of which are not yet processed. So you have to be very careful. You have to generate a summary statement for each process. So once this summary statement is generated, then only, so each amendment you are going to make, each time you have to make a separate summary statement. So that way you have to be very careful when you are working on this GSTN portal. So you will have a different type of procedures whenever you are going to see that. Your recipient can be your regular recipient or SCZ or composition, that will be displayed in your Gstr1, saying that whether your recipient is regular or SCZ. This will definitely help us out. And second is this processed invoice, that will also help us out to understand this number of processed invoice will be available in this column with the hyperlink. The taxpayer can view all the records added for the respective recipient, and there will be certain pending or error invoice. So that also can help us to out. So all these are visible in your GSTN portal. And if you still want to add certain invoices, that can also be added in your portal. And there is an option for search. Using these features, the taxpayer now can search specific record pertaining to a specific GSTN. I think this will also definitely help us to extricate the data for the transactions which are entered as B2B and with reference to credit note and debit note. So this is what the Is it not audible? Am I audible? As anybody can say?
You're audible. You're audible.
Yeah. I just received a message. So I thought, okay, so this is the next important part. Then we have that, as we all know, like there is a system of filing invoice furnishing facilities or Gstr1 by the vendor. So in that case, whenever they are going to add it or whenever they are going to process it, there was a, in case if they are adding a new records and if they have submitted and preview buttons will be disabled till the generation of your new summary. So I think they have just come out with a process that every time you are going to upload the information in your invoice furnishing facility, you see that it is not only submitted, but also it should be filed. Then only the summary will get updated. Otherwise, it will be semi-processed to summary. So every time it is advisable that whenever you believe that it has been submitted, but it is not enough. You have to see that even you have to file even this invoice furnishing return or the Gstr1 return. So they have given a specific procedure for that. And I think now this is a very, very important document for all of us today, Form Gstr2b, because more or less Gstr2a is going to get scrapped with the adding feature of this Gstr2b. So I think it is a very auto-drafted ITC statement, which will be generated for every taxpayer based on the details which has been supplied by the supplier in his Gstr1, Gstr5 and Gstr6. And very important is that Gstr2b is going to give the details of input tax credit which is available and which is not available, because this is going to give a lot of informations for the assessee to take the credit or not to take the credit. So that will help him out. But a question arises, how the system will come to know that it is available or not available. So many times, like if they enter a wrong data, then it will automatically sit into your non-available credit. I think Raviprasad sir can add more points on this, but I think this Gstr2b is definitely going to give a lot of information on available credit and unavailable credit. So I request sir to just highlight on this topic of available credit and non-available credit in your Gstr2b. So I think this is, we are day to day we are handling all this. So I think this will help us out. So for example, they have given that what will be the Gstr2b details, for which period you will be getting the details in your Gstr2b. That is very important. So I think it will be very exhaustive. It will give kind of all the information. You need not go to each Gstr2a or any other informations, because now the 2b will be your source document to avail the input tax credit. So import related informations, even this IceGate information is also getting has got integrated with the GSTN portal. So your 2b will also give the source of information on the credit pertaining to your bill of entry. So that way you can get the information. So it contains the import of goods from IceGate system, including inward supplies from your SCZ and developers. This issue we had earlier, that we were not able to get our data integrated with the IceGate portal. And many times there is a variance between the data integrated in your IceGate portal and the data which has been reflected in your GSTN portal. But now they have come out with a feature in your GSTN portal where they have said that the portal, you have to confirm the data, which is the corrected data, whether the GSTN portal is a corrected data or the GSTN, this IceGate portal is a corrected data. So that confirmations, you can do it in your GSTN portal. And if the bill of entry is missing in your Gstr2b, then you can fetch the missing records from IceGate by a self-service functionality provided by GSTN. This is very important for the members, because we keep on reconciling our informations with IceGate portal, and generally it takes 2 to 3 days to get integrated with your GSTN portal. So I think that we have to be very clear on this. And reverse charge credit on import of service is not available in this statement, and it has to be entered by the taxpayer. So we all are aware that reverse charge credit will not be reflected in your 2b. That has to be separately entered in your Gstr3b, but the taxes paid on import of goods will be reflected in your Gstr2b, because that information has been imported from the IceGate portal. So I think this is what we have to understand. So part A is showing summary of credit that may be availed in 2b, and part B will be showing in your Gstr2b summary of credit that shall be reversed in relevant table of form Gstr3b. And ITC is not available as shown in table 4 core of Gstr2b showing details of ITC not available. So here they have given certain scenarios, like where are the scenarios like where ITC is not available can come. This is only illustrative. There can be various scenarios which can happen in your Gstr2b. For example, invoice or debit note where the supplier and place of supply is in the same state while the recipient is in another state. So in that case, if they have any doubt on the, then they can come out saying that ITC is not available. So I think that we have to wait and see how it is going to give the further update directions on that portal. So in what all scenarios they are rejecting, I think that is what we have to wait and see on that. So I think this is the way you are able to see the things which is available and not available. This all informations which gives. So ITC available and not available. So if you see the first screen of greens with green color, you are able to see that these are the credit which is available. So because it is auto populated in your Gstr3b. Whereas if you see ITC not available to this extent, it is showing that it is not eligible. So I think this is a self, we have to further analyze it and accordingly rework on this informations. And next is very important. This is on e-way bill generation facilities. I think because of pandemic, this blocking of e-way bill was stopped. But again, now they have resumed this e-way bill once this pandemic was closed. And now they have very clearly stated that if the returns are not filed for 3B for 2 months, then they can block your e-way bill. So this is what one more they have come out with. Blocking. This was there earlier also. In between, because of pandemic, it was not there. Again, they have resumed it. And now next very important amendment they have brought it in the this e-way bill is if you are, for example, if you're sending your goods for catering or if you're sending your goods for mandal, this Shamiana services, in that case, your e-way bill should contain the details of goods as well as the services, and you also have to give the details of HSN of goods as well as SAC of your services. So, however, in case where the moment is along with the principal supply of services, e-way bill is required to be generated. So you cannot say that e-way bill is only for the moment of goods, as my service is catering services is a service under the GST law. So there is no requirement of e-way bill. That issue was there. So that's why they have made a clarification that even though it is the movement of goods is happening for the supply of services, but e-way bill should be generated giving the details of goods and services. So this is one important amendment pertaining to the e-way bill. Then next is addition of bank account in GSTN registration detail. I think some of the members remember that whenever we used to go for registrations under the erstwhile law, like VAT law or other law, we were able to see that we were only able to give the bank account name and we used to give bank account number. But now if you see the informations in the GSTN portal, they are asking you the multiple informations on the bank account itself. So what they're asking is, they're asking account number, IFSC code, address, bank account type, authorized signatory. All these things have to be updated in your GSTN portal in your amendment of registration that should be filled in your non-core fields. So this is also one of the important informations which has to be updated, and I believe that this is only for the new registrations. So if you are at the time of registration, if you have not furnished, so I think within 45 days from your first login, you have to update all this bank account informations. So if you see here, the screen is giving the type of bank, address, all that actions that has to be updated here. Then next is functionality of annual aggregate turnover deployed on GSTN portal. For example, you are a PAN based, you have a turnover in the respective states actually. So you have to compute the aggregate turnover. So the system itself is computing the aggregate turnover for the financial year for the cases where the slab is up to or above 5 crore. So in that cases, they are trying to reflect, if you see in the screen, it is giving a self-explanatory of aggregate turnover for the respective years. So if you can see the screen here, it is saying, oh, this is applicable in case of PAN-based turnover. It will give how much turnover it is for this based on return files, and based on estimated, it is giving the consolidated information of your aggregate turnover of all the respective states. So you need not sit and compute all this turnover. It is computed by the GSTN portal itself in the case of common PAN. And if you want to, turnover can be amended twice in a period of 1 month from this date. It will be keep on amending once in 15 days or once in a month. But if you think that the the turnover which is reflected in the portal is not correct, then you can mail to your jurisdictional officer, and accordingly the amendment can be made in the turnover. Then very important is this negative liability in GSTR4. This common issue was there actually to the many of the composition taxpayers who were small taxpayers. They were making a very big mistakes whenever they were filing this GSTR4. They were not declaring the values in table 6 because the liability was reflected in table 5 of your GSTR4. So that's why always there was a negative liability which was getting reflected in your GSTR4 actually. So that's why many times they are raising the ticket and they are saying how come this negative liability is reflected. That's why they have made incorporated in GSTR4, and where they have specifically said that even though it is reflected in your GSTR4 of table 5, you have to declare the values in table 6 of your GSTR4. I think that will clarify your doubt, and that will make you to file a complete GSTR4. And if by mistake, if you have not filled this table 6, you can raise a ticket and they will definitely nullify your liability rather than showing the liability popping in your GSTR4. This one small issue was happening to many of the composition taxpayers. That's why they have made a specific upgradations in the GSTN portal. Then I think changes related to QRMP scheme implemented on GSTN portal for the taxpayers. So here they have they are just trying to give a warning message to the persons who are uploading the invoices and not filing the GSTR 3B or 1 as the case may be. So this is only for the giving the information, warning message to the QRMP taxpayer, and it can lead into a impact of cancellations also of registration or liability to file the Gstr1. So if the registration under QRMP is cancelled with the effective date of cancellations, then they have to file the returns for that respective quarter. They cannot say, because in other regular dealers, we are filing the last month return, but in case of QRMP scheme, the portal will accept only the quarterly details. So I think that is what we have to be very clear whenever you want to cancel the registration under the QRMP scheme. Then I think this we have to some extent we have discussed, but fetching details of bill of entry from Gst portal, this will definitely help you out to take your credit and reconcile your bill of entry with the Gst. So this is what there is a record type IMPG, that is for import of goods. These all details will be reflected in IM. Now in the import of goods, there will be two classification. One is import of goods from SEZ and one more is import of goods from outside country. So these are the details which has to be it will be displayed in your GSTR2A, period of form GSTR2A, reference date, GSTN of your supplier, trade name of your supplier, and bill of entry. These all are added in your import of goods from SEZ. Whereas if it is import of goods from the outside country, then only the GSTR2A, reference date, and bill of entry will be added. So it is taxpayer are advised to confirm the details which is correct from bill of entry documents or using the Gst portal. So this reconciliation job has to be done by the taxpayer itself. Then this is where the search BOE, you want to search any bill of entry. There is an option given in user services itself, search BOE records. So you can put your port code, you can put your bill of entry number, you will get a bill entry date and reference date. This will help you out to get the bill of entry details. Then next is the important point is just another 5 minutes. There was something I was able to see in this portal, submission of refund pre-application form, where they're asking the taxpayer to fill the nature of their business, Aadhaar number, income tax details, export data, expenditure. This is but actually where we are filing the refund applications today. They are not asking anything specifically, whereas we are able to file the refund applications. But this is what the feature has been integrated. I think this will be for the new registrations. I think Raviprasad sir has to clarify on this aspect actually, where all the details, where you have to fill all the details of your exports, capital expenditures, and income tax paid, Aadhaar number. All these details have to be updated in your website. So I think in which all scenarios we have to update, because it is showing as refund pre-application form. So I think this we have to discuss upon that. Then these are the, I think this we are very clear that now there is a delinking of your credit note or debit note on the GSTN portal. You can file your credit note or debit note without giving any linking to any invoices. So if you can raise one credit note against the multiple tax invoices. So accordingly, all those details can be uploaded in your GSTN portal. This is facilities there in your GSTN portal that will definitely save a lot of your time and issues. So I think these are the certain updates I was able to get it from the portal actually on the updates in this GSTN portal. And these are certain practical issues which I just thought I will just read out for the sir to read it on that and give his views on that, or it can be taken as a suggestion so that we can get a better compliances under the GSTN portal. One is it may be a little procedural or it may be a little technical, but it will definitely simplify these compliances under in the GSTN portal. So for example, this GSTN portal is not allowing us to copy or paste value from any other applications like Excel or Word. I think if this can help us out, this will reduce a lot of our typo errors in the GSTN portal. This is kind of a suggestions where we are looking into this. And second is we are unable to include negative values in our Gstr3b. Whereas we can add the negative values in our Gstr1, but we are not able to add negative values in our Gstr3b. So we advise that portal should have separate line even for credit note also in your Gstr3b. Then while using the offline utility for uploading export invoices for filing GST refund applications, always we are able to see that the date and month is interchanging after uploading, because once we convert this Excel file into JSON and once it is getting uploaded, we are able to see that we are always filing this technical glitch of date format change after we are converting from Excel to JSON. So I think this has to be worked, because we have seen that in our certain cases, we have spent a lot of time only in working upon this date change format. I think this has to be relooked into the refund module. And next is B2b table of Gstr1 needs a search option actually. If any invoice needs to be edited after uploading as B2B, we have to every time manually check the GSTN of that respective transaction. So as it is there in 2A or 2B, it was there that we were able to search that supplier based on Gstr1. That is not there in the Gstr1 today. So I think this also can be updated in the portal. And if it has happened, you can tell us, sir, if it has is working upon that. Then next is editing a B2B invoice after unloading is a very lengthy process. It takes a lot of procedure for us to edit our B2B transactions invoices. So I think this also should be reduced. Some better features should be added for editing your B2B invoices in your Gstr1. And the period for electronic ledgers downloaded is restricted to 6 months. And to search refund applications or any other application, only 3-month duration is allowed. This period selection need to be increased to 12 months. We want to view the electronic credit ledger, or we want to view the electronic cash ledger, or as the case may be refund applications details. I think this is this portal is giving a very brief data of 3 months or 6 months. I think this is what we have to look into this. So these were the certain suggestions, and some 2-3 more I'll add it up. And next is if the B2B invoices uploaded exceeds 500 invoices, we will not be able to view the uploaded invoices on the GST portal. So some of the entities have the invoices more than 500 for that respective month. So that also can be added as a feature. It can be made as 1000 or 2000 invoices. And whenever a taxpayer want to file a refund applications, the size is restricting to 50 MB and only 10 files are allowed to upload. I think this size should be expanded. Many cases we are able to see that we are not able to upload the complete informations, and accordingly, many times we have to file the manual informations to the assessing authority. Then we are able to see that many times refunds are getting rejected because we are not able to produce this FIRC copies. So I think there should be some clarification saying that even bank advice will suffice in the instead of FIRC copies. So something clarification is required on this issue also. And e-way bill report is available for last 5 days in the portal. I think, sir, this is a very big issue, because nowadays we are getting a notices for reconciling of your e-way bill with your returns or with your books of accounts. So I think we are not able to generate, we are not able to get the e-way bill details for say 1718 or 1819 from the portal.
Just I want to just add one small thing. What
Yes,
all
sir.
the things which you want, you just mail the
yeah, I will mail you, sir. Yeah, I will mail you, sir. Yeah.
PPT along with
Yes,
a
sir.
gist of what you people desire. To
Yes, sir. We will have a discussion on this. We will have a discussion. These are the suggestions.
Discussion.
Yes. Yes,
Because
sir.
majority of these things are related to the portal.
Yes.
I may not be able to comment unless until because first two reasons I may not be able to comment much on this. First, number one is this is all model 2 states because the GSTN is maintaining the models 2 states and the model 1 states also. For model 1, backend is maintained by NIC. Therefore, there is maybe some lag between these two. Therefore, some facilities may not be there in Karnataka, especially because we are in the model 1. And
Okay.
other states may have different model 2. As far as the front end operations is concerned, I think what the dealer interface is concerned, I think that is common for both model 1 and model 2. All these facilities will be there. As
Okay,
far
sir.
as the other reports are concerned, these are all technical requirements. You please
Yes, sir.
mail this to the commissioner as well as to me.
Yes, sir.
Addressed.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure. These are the just suggestion I wanted to bring to the notice of members also, that these are the certain expectations we are expecting for the further amendment in the portal. The next is amendment in Gstr1 for B2C and export invoices. If you're able to see, we are not able to make amendment in B2C column, but whereas we are able to make multiple amendments in B2B transactions because or export transactions, because B2C it is saying that it will not allow more than once actually. So I think this we can allow as an additional feature for making multiple amendments for B2C transaction also. And even this EM signer is still creating a lot of glitches even after 4 years or 5 years. So using DSCs has become a very tedious processor. Many times the file gets disturbed because of DSC not getting validated. So I think this has to be again reworked upon that. And then this while filing the application for rejections, this is a practical problem which we are facing. We will select a PIN code and accordingly the jurisdiction is getting populated in our GSTN portal. But when we go to that respective jurisdiction, they are saying that no, this doesn't belong to us. So I think somewhere we should have a uniformity where both the dealers as well as the jurisdictional officer can verify the PIN based on the PIN code. The jurisdictional officer can come out with, because some of the cases we are able to see that there was a difference in getting the address or PIN code or the jurisdictional officer. So I think this is what we were facing. Then in the return dashboards, we are having 2A, 2B, quarterly, something if you can make it as a, it sometimes confuses to the taxpayer. So something we can work on that also. And there is one practical problem, it is happening in your Gstr3B, where we have a column for deductions, reversal of credit under rule 42 and 43. But rule 42 and 43 is only asking the quantum of reversal. It is not asking the column for common input tax, which is going to get reverse. So that common input tax is not getting reflected in your Gstr3B. That will also create a certain disparity of informations between details which we have filed it under 3B and with the books. So I think this with the credit whatever it is displayed. So I think this also there should be additional column in Gstr3B for common input tax credit, which is going to get apportioned between exempted and taxable. So there should be a separate column. That is what we are suggesting, sir. And the auto-populated values in Gstr3B in table 382B is incorrect. Many times it is coming as incorrect. It is showing as net of advances is also included in the auto. It is picking the details of advances also in 3B. So I think this also has to be reworked on that. And whenever we are filing refund applications, either it will not get saved, or even if it is get saved, it is not visible very clearly. So something it has to be worked on this feature also. And bulk GSTN search along with SCZ we must be available, because when you are searching the GSTN, we should be able to understand whether we are sending the goods to SCZ or to the other entity, because every time we have to check with the GSTN to understand whether it is SCZ or non-SCZ. And next is we are able to see that this view notices and orders. Again, we are able to see that there is many times we are able to see view notices and orders. Multiple ASMT 10s are coming. We are giving a reply. Again, some notices are coming. So there should be some structure based on the dates of the notices and based on the replies. So if that feature can get added in the GSTN portal, that will definitely help the taxpayer and the department to have control on those notices and replies and orders as the case may be. And in Gstr1, the auto-populated from e-invoice has source as e-invoice. Once we edit the same, the source changes to blank if we change the rate of tax in export invoice. So this, I think we are aware that there is a change in this export invoice details in the case of e-invoice. Even e-invoice has to be generated for export. So there we are finding, and that clarification is made in notification 70/20, but still there is it is there in the notification, but it is not getting complied in your GSTN portal. And in case of GST refund, if the export invoices has multiple receipts, for example, I have made export services, say for 1 crore, but from the customer, I have received only 60 lakhs. So for that year, I have filed the refund applications. Now again, I want to declare the balance 40 lakhs, but that is not getting added in turnover because it is saying that already the refund application for that tax period is already filed, and accordingly, you cannot amend the details. So I think this is creating a disparity between the export invoice, what has been raised, and against which what the realization has been made from the customers outside. So I think this has to be relooked into that. In case of GST refund, if we are able to see that if the export invoice have multiple receipts spread over different refund periods, the export invoice cannot be uploaded second time, as the portal restricts, saying that we have already uploaded the same in the previous refund portal, period. So the invoice value also cannot be modified. So this is the problem we are having. This we try to approach to the jurisdictional officer also. He said we have to work upon that. But I think this has to be relooked into that, sir. Otherwise, our computations will definitely go wrong in that. And next is the auto population of Gstr1 from e-invoice portal is completed only on the 10th of the subsequent month. I think this has to be made little earlier for the facilitations to the taxpayers. And notice period, I already told you that it should be made it as a tax period wise notice along with the replies. So these were the certain suggestions. There might be more suggestions, but I request members, if you have anything, you can post to us or post to sir directly so that we can make it better functioning of the GSTN portal. So I think I've just concluded my session now on this updates on the GSTN portal. Now I request members, if you can just raise your queries in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask the queries to the sir.
Madam, there are in chat box few questions, 1 or 2, 3 questions. You can see the chat box, ma'am, there.
I'm just trying to read, sir. You can also read, sir. You can read, sir. You can read and ask. We'll read.
There is a question from Ramya KS. In case of the ITC of previous periods is being taken in the current month, and thereby the GSTR 3B value is more than 10% of GSTR 2A, then how to go about the same is the question.
This is basically now the entire from 1st January, I think it is the 2B which is going to be more important. And we have to see with reference to the 2B than with reference to the 2A. I think this we will make a note of it, sir. We'll see whether this, I think it should be made available because it is, if it is more than 10% of the current year 2B, it is basically on 2B basis which we are going to do. Therefore, previous months and periods will not be that much important because you can take in the month in which the 2B in the invoice is referred in 2B. Therefore, you can't take the ITC of the previous month, 2A in the current month, because it's only one scenario where we can foresee this is where the goods are invoice is uploaded in the previous month and the goods are received in the next month. Then there were ITC eligibility will come in the month in which the goods are received. That is the one area which we are also have flagged this issue. We will be discussing this issue.
Okay. So the next question is from Preetham SL. There are various valid reasons leading to GSTR 3B credit being more than 10% GSTR 2B credrit. Such reasons include, I think, I'll continue. There is a little more he has written. So such reasons could include credit availed for invoice reflecting in GSTR 2B of previous month, or credit availed after receiving the goods, but invoice is issued in the previous months. What is the intention of department by notifying a limit 10%? It will be a big hurdle if 10% is compared for each month when the credit are genuine. This is what the detailed
This is
question.
basically a feature which has been introduced to prevent the basically the credits which have been taken by bogus taxpayers and bogus invoice generators and other things. Therefore, I think if it is already there in the 2B, it should be carried forward, and we have flagged this issue to the law committee. We are discussing this issue. We'll see what best we can do on this issue. I think I have answered this question. We definitely will take it up before the law committee and see that whether what will be happening in this type of cases, and we'll clarify that, sir.
Yeah, another question from Ramya KS. In case the ITC of previous period is being taken in the current month and thereby the GSTR 3B value is more than 10% of GSTR 2A, then how to go about the same?
Same, sir. Again, the same question.
Same
Everybody is worried about that. I think that we also flagged this.
Okay. GSTR 9, question from Nagaraj B. GSTR 9, table 8A, ITC not matching with the download table 8A of the Excel sheet itself. Both data from GST portal itself is not matching. Even after raising redressal grievances, problem not resolving.
Yes, sir. We just ask Mr. Nagaraj to meet the help desk, and so that we can raise another query. And in case if they come to us, we will see that we will talk to the GSTN and get it. We'll raise a flag. Flag on this issue, and we'll see that it is cleared.
Shankar Shastri TL, can we consider facility of carry forward credit similar to TDS?
Yeah, sir.
Income tax.
Yeah. This I think this we will take it up because this is a very good suggestion which is given, because this may solve the problem which has been raised by so many people earlier, that in case of the credit of the previous month, if it is not taken into it is not possible to take in the next month, whether there is any carry forward. I think this is a right way of thinking. I think we'll give a thought to it, sir. Sure.
Yeah, that is how in income tax it is.
Yeah. We'll give a serious thought about it.
Yeah. Next question from Ramya KS. Credit reversal done during the month in excess of GSTR 3B ITC is paid through cash. Where should this be reflected in GSTR 9?
Yeah, in GSTR 9 we have given that in excess of 3B. Credit reversal, there is no question of any correction to be made in 9. 9 is only a reporting form where there is the annual, though it is called as an annual return, it is basically a reporting one. All the corrections, all the details of amendments have to be made in the original returns, that is GSTR 3B only. It is not in 9. 9 is only a reconciliation statement basically between the financials and the GSTR 3B, that is the monthly return. Therefore, I don't think there is any corrections can be made in GSTR 9. It's only the reconciliation part. And if at all there is any corrections to be made, it has to be made in 3B only.
Question from G Praveen. When late fees is being collected for delay in filing return, why ITC duly accounted in books should not be allowed for a particular financial year if return is filed after the due date under section 16.4?
16.4 is already a decided case, sir, in the Supreme Court. Honorable Supreme Court has decided about the 16.4, and there is no, I don't think we can do anything about it, because 16.4 is already decided, and the highest court of the country has decided that it has to be claimed. ITC can be claimed only in the period allowed, because there's a fundamental difference between the ITC of the VAT period and the ITC of the GST period. In ITC of the GST period is almost similar to the refund of the tax paid in the earlier stage. Therefore, that is different from the way the ITC was looked in VAT and other regime, service tax regime. Therefore, the condition for this type of refund, but the only difference is refund in case of cash will be given in the form of cash refund, whereas in case of ITC, it is credited to the electronic credit entirely it is similar to the refunding of the tax paid in the previous stage with subject to the conditions and stipulations there which are made in the law. Therefore, and this there is one of the condition is it should be claimed within the period which is allowed in the law. Therefore, the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, has also decided that it cannot be if there is a mechanism for claiming the. I don't think that we have got anything to say about it now. It's a decided matter, please.
Yeah, question from Santosh Kumar. We are nowadays getting notice saying that there is a difference between Gstr2b and input claims for the past period. How to deal with the same?
Yeah, in this type of cases where there is, if you feel that there is a difference in between the notice which has been issued to you and your portal details, then you please go with your username and password to the LGSTO and concerned LGSTO and show to him and take a printout of that and show to him that this is the data which is there available in the system. As you all know that IT systems are always having some glitches and problems that will be continuously updating it, solving it as and when there are bugs coming in. We'll be fixing the bugs and things will be there. For the time being, I request all the members, in case if they have got a difference between for a figure which is there in the notice which is different from the GST, whatever you can download from the GSTN portal, then you please contact your local GST officer. We have instructed all the local GST officers to see what is there in the portal and adopt the figures which are there in the portal. I don't think there will be any problem as such. The local GST officers will cooperate with you and they will accept the figures as it is there in the GSTN portal. And in case if the notices are to be dropped, they will drop it. If it is up to be amended, they will amend it. And I don't think there will be any issue from this on this ground. And if you feel that any local GST officer is not, not accepting the figures from the portal, then you can escalate the matter to the Joint Commissioner or to the Commissioner also. Preferably to the local Joint Commissioner himself first. And if it is not getting settled at that stage, you can report the matter to the Commissioner's office. We will take up this matter and we will redress that problem.
There is a question from Sunil Bellala. If we did not claim the ITC in particular month and claimed in succeeding month, then in that month there will be difference. I claim based on payment basis to avoid interest or reversal as 180 days clause keeping in mind.
Sir, it is the law is very clear that it has to be claimed in the month in which it is there. Therefore, you can't claim it in a different month as such, because in case only claims can be made in a different month only when the goods are not received, especially in the case of receipt of goods through installments or in the month end period, especially if the invoice is issued on 31st or 30th and the goods are moving and the goods are received on the next this one, and your GRN shows that the goods are received in the next month. Only in such cases there will be some mismatch between the GSTR2b and the claim of ITC. Therefore, in such cases, I think we are taking this issue with the GST Law Committee, as I explained, and this can be redressed. But in case if you have received the goods, you have received the invoice, and you have got a valid claim, you should be doing in the same month.
Yeah, there is a question from Ajit Kumar K. We are getting notice for payment of GST relating to financial year 2018-19 and so on, and the amount and the again I'll read. We are getting notice for payment of GST relating to financial year 2018-19 and so on. the amount involved is very minimal, 3 rupees, 25 rupees, etc. Department should consider the amount factor also before issuing notice.
Yeah, in this it is, we understand the limitations of the department. We will just generate the bulk notices from the Excel sheet, and sometimes it is a auto generated notices also. In such cases, this type of mistake, I mean, I can't call it as a mistake, but it is a very trivial notice which can be ignored. I think if you just send an email that this is a very minimal amount, this can be ignored. I think our officers will definitely ignore those notices and drop the proceedings. You please send an email, that's enough for us.
Okay, so same one more question from Ajit Kumar. GST registration become tedious process. Department is asking the documents like details of prospective customer, nature of business, projected turnover, notarized document, etc. Is it really relevant for GST registration?
Everything has become relevant because of the proliferation of the bogus taxpayers, sir. Bogus invoice generators. In fact, when we went to the GST, you could have seen that it was given within 3 days. Everything was very fine. For us also, we also don't want to trouble the dealers who wants to do legitimate business. But the problem is people, unscrupulous elements have entered into the system and they are transferring the credits. And therefore, it has become imperative for the department also to prevent this type of bogus credits, because in such types, it is the entire the ecosystem of the GST, it's getting spoiled because of that. And you have seen in newspapers frauds getting reported on almost on everyday basis. 5,000 crores, 10,000 crores, 100 crores, all sorts of things. Therefore, the departments are also been inclined to prevent this. We are also thinking of what measures can we bring in, so that sometimes if it is found that say there is any doubt from on the registering authority, then naturally they want to ensure, because they are responsible, they will be made responsible if there is any proliferation of bogus business in their area. Therefore, sometimes these type of knee-jerk responses can happen from the dealer side as well as from the department side. I don't think that if you can prove your credentials, I don't think there will be any major issue as far as registration is concerned. Our only that's the basic, underlying principle. If you please cooperate with this, and if you feel that it is being genuine, if you have got some serious grievance, you can always flag it to us. We will definitely intervene in that cases.
A question from Tauship. We received notice saying that your GSTR 3B is mismatching with the GSTR 2A for the financial year 2017-18. There was no GSTR 2A for 2017-18 for comparison on that particular year. So what is the solution?
You can in that case also got any mismatch between the 2A which is being generated. Got all the details. If in the system, if you can download a 2A for any period for that matter, then you will that will be addressed.
So another question from Tausif. I omitted some bills in GSTR 1 in last month. In GSTR 3B, which value has to show, correct value or omitted that bill and taken in next month?
Now that, sir, GSTR 1 is tightly bound with the GSTR 3B, then it is getting auto-populated. Therefore, I don't think this issue will be there in future. For the earlier periods, you have to file the amendment in the GSTR 1 itself, so that the amendment you should add the invoices in your next GSTR1.
Shankar Shastri's question, IGST paid in bill of entry at the time of import is not appearing in through 2B. Our GSTN is properly mentioned in the bill of entry. How do we claim credit for the same?
I think this issue has been flagged. It was flagged to the GSTN for Gst Portal integration when it was happening. If it is persisting, I'll just check it up, sir, because I'm not aware, because we had flagged this issue in the last time itself. I'll check it and tell.
Sir, it is taking some time, sir, sometimes to get data integrated from Gst to the GSTN portal.
Yes.
The portal has updated.
It's now self-service in that.
Yeah.
It has been provided. Self-service has been provided. And still, if it is not coming properly, then you can report it.
Yeah, we can raise a ticket actually for
Yes,
that. They have given that ticket reference also. Yes.
So, question from Venkat Narayana. Recredit of ITC, why can't be made automatic?
Sir, recredit of ITC is now, I think we have got a, I'm not able to understand actually the perspective in which the question is asked. But the recredit of ITC when case of refund rejection is already has been given a facility has been provided. I think Annapurna was already explaining this. PMT form is there for that. You can ask for a recredit of the ITC which is rejected where the refund is rejected. The second issue is for the recredit of ITC. I think now with the integration of the GSTR 1 and 1, 2B and 3B, I think this issue will not be there because it has always been declared in the 2B and 1. If it is declared in 1, it will be there in the 2B, and from the 2B it goes to the 3B. Therefore, it is this situation will not arise in future, according to me. If the situation is there, you can just flag this issue. We will definitely take this matter at the highest level and we will get it sorted it out.
Refund claimed on capital goods by mistake. Now reversed, but I have to claim back. But how? Portal no provision.
The first thing is, sir, you have to reverse back. That is through the GSTR, GST DRC 3. You have to reverse back, and then you have to start claiming that ITC through the the facility which has been given in the PMT 9, and the officer is going to verify and recredit that amount. I think that feature is already been given. In case if you have got any problem, we can just contact the local GST officer. And if it is not possible, please raise a ticket so that this can be sorted out.
Sir,
Sunil Bellala question. Can I claim till September of next year as I have till September next year? Why can't I claim, sir? That I think regarding the previous ITC one.
The law itself provides what is, if at all there is any mistake in the claim of ITC, you can always claim in the next within next year. But I think now the issue is in future it will be very much restricted in the sense that ITC can because it is tightly bound. In case if something is not claimed during the year and it is left in the GSTR 2B, then to that extent amount they can always be a claim. I think that is I don't have any serious errors in the system, but we'll check it, sir. We'll check it. We can claim, definitely claim. The law itself provides for that.
Yes.
16.4 only mandates that you can't claim after the due date of filing of return of September, and after amendment I think it will go to up to November, but the amendment is not yet effective.
Sir, I think the perspective of his question is when there is a time limit to avail the credit, then why every month that reconciliations with the 2B is required? Because there is a possibility that I can claim the credit pertaining to earlier month in the current month. That is possible within 16.4. Then how can we every month compare your 2B with the missed input tax credit, which is available as per 16.4? So that means
this input tax credit will always be basically in the earlier period. If you see, it was based on 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, there was a there was a possible that the missing invoices itself was there. But in this scenario, new scenario, there is because if it is 2B with 3B is tightly integrated, there can't be any missing invoices, and a facility has been provided to you to inform the supplier if those invoices are not reflected in 2B, so that the supplier, if he has inadvertently not uploaded the invoices in his Gstr1, he can in the next month when he does it, actually it gets reflected in your 2B and you can make the claim in the period. But in case if there is a claim, something like which was it was a capital good, means it was something related to the capital goods, or it was something related to the mistaken issue where you feel that ITC is not eligible and you are not claimed, and in future if you feel that it is claimable, but hence you are going to make a claim. For those type of scenarios, you can claim up to the next within the next period of September.
Madam, you have any questions? Because here questions are over.
Yeah, I think
We have another half an hour.
yeah, sir. I think you can unmute this Venkat Narayan GM, sir. He want to speak on the situation. He has put it in the chat box.
Please raise your hand, Mr. Venkat Narayan. Suraj, IT team Suraj or Manish?
Yes, sir.
Please allow him to speak, Mr. Venkat Narayan, who he has raised his hand. Even Pooja, Shankar Krishna, one by one you can raise. There is a question from Vinayak Hegde in chat box. Question.
I've unmuted and Venkat Narayan, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Annapurna madam, and thank you, sir. Sir, this when we apply for refund, if for some reason if that refund is partly rejected, then that PMT03 will submit. But several follow-up, even if you make several follow-up, that is not getting recredited. Yeah, that is the issue, sir.
Please refer this matter to the. If you have raised this issue with the officer and he has not recredited the ITC, you please escalate the matter to the Joint Commissioner so that you can take give a letter to the Joint Commissioner in writing. I think that should be sorted. In case if it is not sorted, you can just mark a letter to the head office. We will just see what is the reason for not crediting the ITC back.
Okay, thank you, sir. And second query is that to give the explanation in one of the case that the SC has wrongly claimed the refund on capital goods also. So then we advise that you should not claim because it is not refundable. But it is not denied for the taking ITC. Now we reversed also. Now how to get it that ITC?
Again, I have answered this question. You have to again go to the officer and ask. You can file the PMT, I think 6 now or 9. I think sorry, PMT 3 or 6. I think we are given a form. I don't just remember which form. Recredit of PMT 3 is you can file it and you can make a claim and the officer will definitely attend to it and he makes a proceeding and then he recredits that. This has been discussed in the law committee and we have approved that. I think it has to be.
It is happening, sir. Actually,
it's happening.
Madam, it's PMT03, no, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In that portal, in that refund itself, you'll get it that form. You click, you can click to that recredit to that ledger. Information is there. In that, if you click it, you will get it.
Okay, thank you.
We had this problem because some people had been wrongly declared some advance authorization as interstate exports with payment of tax and took the refund of the entire tax paid and the export of services. Export of goods, and afterwards they came to know that they were not eligible for export of goods with payment of tax, and they recredited the entire amount which they had taken the refund. But in such cases, the ITC which they had used for adjusting the amount should be recredited back. Therefore, we discussed this and had approved this, and it has been done. I don't know exactly. It's
Yeah, it
happening.
is happening, sir. It's happening, sir. Only in some cases you can approach the officer if it is not
Yeah,
happening.
you should approach the officer, and if it is not possible at his level, please escalate. If it's a technical
Yeah.
issue, we will definitely raise a ticket to the GSTN to make that suggestions and corrections. And if it is legally not permissible, then we will issue an endorsement for that.
Yeah, and one Veerappan has asked you, is there any time limit for claiming such recredit? So I don't think there is no
I
such
don't think there is any such.
not requirement. It's only blocked actually, so it is getting recredited.
A question from Vinayaka Hegde. In case of services, it may so happen that the bills are received and accounted in the next month only. In such case, how without receiving the invoice ITC to be claimed in the same month, merely because transaction is appearing in Gstr2b?
Yeah, that's what I told you, sir. That's we are flagged this issue. In case if it is not possible to claim in the same month, whatever invoices which are not been claimed should be carried forward to the next month. And in such cases, the credit should be available. And we have flagged this issue. I think we will check that once again, and there should be some carry forward facility, because it can be in 2B of the previous month, but the claim can be in this month. There are situations not only in this issue, but in so many other issues also. Therefore, we will take this matter in the law committee as well, and we'll get it checked whether this facility has been provided. If it is not provided, we'll definitely flag this issue to the GST Council.
So even this issue has been discussed in budget also, sir, and I think
Yes,
they are
yes.
saying that may be prescribed or notified. I think we can wait for that specific notification.
Please.
Yes.
Tausif, one question. In some cases, ITC of previous year, ITC is availed in the current financial year. Then automatically books and GSTR3B will differ in GSTR9 and 9C.
That's the precise reason, sir. There should be a reconciliation, because the reconciliation of the financial accounts and the GST accounts are never going to tally. But never means not always, because of the two reasons. One of this is previous year transactions claims not made, which is claimed in the current year, and those claims will be reflected in this current year's returns, whereas those transactions pertain to the previous financial year. The same way, there will be some advances which are received and the GST has been paid in the advances. The transactions pertain to the future year, but getting reflected in the current year. Therefore, there will be a disparity between the financials and the GST returns. Hence, in such cases, and there is also another issue where the financials and the GSTR9 will never be tallying, where the value of supply as per GST is different from the actual transactional value. Especially in many cases where there is a different transactional value, that is the value of supply, and as per section 15 of the GST Act is different from the actual revenue recognized by you and in your books of accounts. In such cases, there will be disparity between the financials statements and the GSTR9, and that's the reason why there is a GSTR9 and 9C. Here we are reconciling the financials with the GST returns, both the things. Where if there is more in the GST returns, if it is less in the financials, what is the reason? And if it is less in the returns and more in the financials, what is the reason? This is what is the reconciliation in the 9 and 9C. I think, and whatever is in case if there is a genuine errors of reporting itself in the 3B, those errors has to be rectified by by adding or making the correction entry in the returns, which have to be filed in the next financial year. That has to be done. In case if the period is over, then it has to be done in the 3B in case of any output tax liability coming to the notice to be paid along with the interest. In case if it is not ITC, especially ITC cannot be claimed other than in 3B. Therefore, this ITC will not be available in such cases if it is filed after the due date for claiming.
Vinayak Hegde's question: in case of wrong payment of tax using ITC and is sanctioned, as per law, it has to be credited to the credit ledger only and not to be refunded in cash. Yes. The officer is saying that portal has not enabled facility is for this. How to proceed?
We'll check that, sir. I think this should be because it was in the top priority category in the GSTN. You know, sir, we have got a service provider. He has to be raise a request to him to modify the facility. Therefore, there will be some certain lag between the request and the commissioning of that change, because we raise a change request and it has to go to a long process, because it has to be change has to be approved by the persons who are sitting at the helm of affairs, because we can't take any chances, because this is basically a system depending on the finances and all these things. There will be a lot of tight controls in that. Therefore, there will be definitely a lag between the request and the facility being provided. Therefore, I think we should, please bear with us for this this type of things. And I think this was in the top priority. I think if I'll check it with whether this has not been, whether there is one not been provided. If it is provided, I'll let you know what is the present status.
Question from Sriman Narayana. Whether GSTR 7 needs to be filed to process the refund claim. A refund claim is pending for more than 15 days.
Yes.
FAQ says there is no need to file nil return.
So GSTR and GST3B are two independent processes. Please understand this. You have a time of supply for services, like say when we are supplying to a government, where the government is a tedious authority, then you are going to, the time of supply for that transaction is when the supply is made, and your liability starts from the day on which the supply is made. Therefore, you have to declare it in the month in which where the time of supply is going to come, and you have to pay the tax. You have to issue the invoice and you have to pay the tax. But the payment may be received at a future date. When the payment is received, they will do a TDS. Therefore, the payment will come naturally to your cash ledger, and the turnover is reflected in the already, because the tax is already paid. And if you don't have any tax output tax to adjust this excess payment which you have got in your ledger, you can always take the refund. In such cases, I think you should not depend on GSTR 7 for filing the return. It has to be made. And in case of the refund, is if you should be able to explain the turnover which is getting reflected in the GSTR 7 is already reported in the GSTR 3B of the previous months. If that can be demonstrated, I think that there will be no issue.
G. Pankaj Kumar's question: dealer dealing in second-hand goods and availing margin scheme, as per which he is required to pay GST on the margin only. But how to report the same in GSTR 1, 3B and 9? That is, taxable should be total value or only margin?
It is the taxable value which you are going to put it is the value on which the tax is paid. That is the turnover
Margin.
which you have to put it in the GSTR 1, because that is the amount of, ultimately the 2A and 2B is looking at the tax component only for the ITC to be given in the next stage. But in this, I don't think this is going to be an issue where you have to report the taxable turnover, which is on which the tax is paid.
G. Praveen question: registered person has disclosed certain turnover as exempted activity. However, audit authority classifies the same as taxable activity and alleged the same as suppression under section 74. How to explain the officer that it is a mere interpretation issue between registered person and the officer concerned?
Very nature of declaring a taxable turnover as a non-taxable turnover itself is suppression of facts, because the fact says that it is a taxable supply, whereas it is declared as a non-taxable supply. And on what basis he declared it as a non-taxable supply is only because of the suppression of the taxability of the transaction. Therefore, it is definitely a suppression of information, if not the turnover.
Okay, otherwise he has to prove that is exempted turnover.
Yeah. Because he has to watch for what the entries he has made. I can't say that my entries were my entries were wrong, because you have got a method for I mean a process for making the corrections in the next month. If you are not availed that, that means you are deliberately you are not verifying your whatever claims you are making in your return.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions. Suraj, I think two more people raised their hand. Can you please unmute them
Yes, sir.
one by one?
Shankar Krishna, sir. Krishnamurthy.
Yeah, please.
So I can speak up, sir. Shankar Krishnamurthy, sir.
Yeah, if he is not there, one more person also raised. Some lady.
No, sir. No, no.
In the meantime, if you can just say if the notices are received from different jurisdictions, sir, like one is from investigation, one is from audit. So how the taxpayer should handle that, sir? If you can just throw some light on that.
One thing you can if on the same issue basically, because if you see that if the same dealer can be taken up for investigation, and he will be doing the investigation for any suppression of turnover and issues a show cause notice, you can and if an audit notice is also issued in the same case, I think you can bring the reference of that notice which the earlier inspecting authority has issued to the audit officer's knowledge, so that he will take cognizance of that also in his audit report. I don't think that there will be any issue on that, because they can't be double taxation basically.
Yeah. I think that will be issue based.
Ultimately, madam, both audit as well as the 67, that is the enforcement activity, both are reporting authorities only. It is the ultimate result of these two are both reports. Audit results in ADT2, that is an audit report. It is not an order. Whereas the enforcement activity also results in an enforcement report. Only it is getting translated into an assessment under section 73 or 74 only when all these reports are taken into cognizance for determination of the tax liability. At that time, there can't be any duplication, but the reports can be multiple. There is no, that is not the issue. But you can always bring to the notice of the inspecting authority about the audit which is happening. And if there is any notice, you can always bring it to his notice. Or if there is any enforcement action and the audit is taken up, you can always bring the enforcement report to the knowledge of the officer. Even if you just say that it has been inspected, and the officer will definitely contact that person who has inspected and get the report himself.
Okay.
Narayan sir has raised the hand.
Yeah. Anybody? Mr. Narayan?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please raise your query.
Yeah. Good evening, all. And I really commend Mr. Raviprasad, Commissioner, sir, that the clarifications are very elaborate and very instantaneous and very authentic. Now, mostly now the senior level people may not be so elaborate in giving the answers. We are very fortunate to have you, sir, today. This is now connected to my earlier question on that GSTR 7 issue. Actually, what has happened when the registration was done, by mistake now it has gone as a TDS category registration. It is not a regular, not a regular trader, regular dealer. It has gone as a TDS category registration, unfortunately. And without knowing anything, now the amount was deposited into the electronic cash ledger. Now that refund is pending and not as this connected to the regular tax payment issue, because now that I cannot file my return under that TDS category registration, and I was advised to cancel that registration, and in the meantime the amount was deposited. That refund is pending, and later I have registered for the regular category dealer.
No, Mr. Narayan, I think this is a problem with all self-assessment schemes, because we always depend on first level of assessment is by the dealer himself. The dealer, it has got a statutory recognition that it is an assessment. You have registered yourself as a TDS authority, rightly or wrongly. I'm not commenting on that. I mean, maybe it is wrong that you have wrongly, taken registration as a TDS authority, and you have filed the return under GSTR7. That means you have declared
No, sir. No, GSTR 7 was not filed, sir. But in the meantime, the amount was deposited into the electronic cash ledger, and then the problem was noticed.
Acha. Then you have not filed the return?
No, sir. No, not filed.
Then it is lying in the cash ledger. It will be lying in the cash ledger. You can as well file a application for refund of the excess in the cash ledger.
No, but
that is every person can file that.
That is pending for more than 15 days, and there's no response from anybody.
You can just flag that issue to us. We will just check it. Is it a central case or state case?
Pardon, sir?
Is it central case or state jurisdiction?
State jurisdiction.
Which LGSTO?
This is Jayanagar area, sir. This is.
Yeah, you meet the joint commissioner there. In case if the LGSTO is not, if he feels that he requires any support from his joint commissioner, we will definitely guide him. And in case if it is not there, you can just meet us. We will
one small suggestion in this case. Now, selecting now the type of registration.
But one thing, sir. Because for the what is the effective date of cancellation of the TDS registration? That is very important. And you have to file a nil return for that period because you have not done any TDS during that period. You have to file a nil return and it gets closed. Then only there will be excess in the cash.
Okay. Now the root cause for this is the system itself, sir. Now there should be some mechanism now that when an individual is approaching for registration, now that should not show up. That particular option should not show up for TDS authority. Because now the kind of the buttons and the other things that are available, several options we have to choose.
We will definitely flag we'll take your suggestions, sir.
Because now this can be system controlled. There's no need that that person has to apply his discretion in selecting a particular type of registration. Then this should be exclusively available for the authority. Otherwise, you can put some narration that now this is available only for the government authorities.
Yes, sir, we will just flag this issue. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Narayan. So, one more question from S. Ananthan. Some of state GST authorities are not issuing GSTR APL02. What is that? For the appeal filed. Is there any revised instruction?
Acknowledgement, actually, that is for the
acknowledgement.
There is some because this is some especially we had some lag between the model 1 and model 2. We found such things. I think that has been flagged. I think this is already corrected. In case if it has not been given APL02, you can always demand it from the appellate authority, office of the appellate authority, and get it. And if we will check it, sir, why it is not been given. If you have got a definite, clear particular instance, then we can take some corrective measure. As to we can check up why it is not issued.
Yeah, Manish, can you please unmute?
You can send the details, sir, from your association itself.
Manish, unmute Santosh Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Santosha Kumar.
Sir, good evening. Thank you for this wonderful session, sir. It is really helpful for many members and also the traders. Sir, I have 2 points, sir. One is with relating to this, input cannot be claimed if the payment is not made within 180 days. There is a genuine case, sir. Some of the cases where there are sister concerns where the payment, where there are some debit balance in the sister A concern and B concern. And we are getting, payment from A instead of B. So we pass a JV entries in our books between A sister concern instead of B concern. And we had a discussion whenever there was an assessment or there was an audit, sir. In the audit, there was a genuine case, but they are not able to accept. They are saying that the payment has to flow and things like that. So this is something that I want your input, sir, in this.
When we say that for each firm is a distinct person, then it has to be, payment has to be received by the distinct person to make that ITC eligible. If it is, the payment is not made within 180 days, then that firm is, I mean, the ITC has to be reversed. When the payment has been made, they can reclaim the ITC. If you are making some financial adjustments between your sister concerns, that is something which is out of the law. For as far as GST is concerned, you can always collect it in this firm and always transfer it to that firm. Therefore, in that case, sir, this is not a issue. We can make the corrective entries even today. You can take it in the period, but the only problem is you may have to pay the interest liability, that is for the wrong claim or delayed payment of the amount beyond 180 days. I think it's
not applicable, sir, actually, for related parties. Schedule 1, if it is. Santosh, is it a Schedule 1 transaction?
I need to check, ma'am, actually. This,
yeah, because
I think the question, Annapurna, madam, I think the question is he has taken up from the third parties. It is the transaction which he has routed to the some other sister concern for some cash flow issues. Maybe it could be anything.
Because
that will be that cannot be taken as a payment for the supply of services.
Schedule 1.
What happens due to COVID issues and a business, there is no funds, and cash flow has to be done.
Sir, agreed. You should have taken in this firm and then transferred it to the other firm. That would have.
And as you know, that bankers will be waiting if any fund comes over there. So that's one. Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying that issue. The second point is that, sir, in one of the case, there was an audit happened, and the assessment, that order was not passed, but they issued a memo, and then they transferred this to an audit department, sir. And we have submitted all the queries to that. That is in Domlur office. But this is between pre-COVID time and post-COVID time, sir. And after that,
central authority or state authority?
I think it's a central government, sir. It's a central authority, sir.
Yes.
So subsequently, we have not heard from them, sir. It's almost like more than a year or plus.
Have they issued a DRC? No, sir. DRC 1.
No, sir. No, sir.
They are not issued DRC 1 or DRC 1A.
No, sir. Not yet, sir.
If
not yet, sir.
You feel that there is any liability, you can discharge the liability according to your this one, and you can make a.
Sir, there is no liability, sir. We are only concerned.
If there is no liability, you have already submitted. You keep a copy of that. If the department is feels that there is any liability, they will issue a DRC 1.
Okay. Yes.
And 1A first. 1A is issued first, and then DRC 1. Only that time it culminates into a creation of demand. Till that time, it is not it is only a report. It is only a finding, and there is no demand because of that. Therefore, you can wait till the DRC 1 is issued. DRC 1A is issued to you. And if you are panicky enough, you can just meet the officer and see that whether there is any proceedings they are going to make for issuing of DRC 1A, 1A and 1. If that is the case, I think it could have been dropped at their level, because if they feel that there is no issue on which the assessment can be made, and if they have accepted your explanation, I think the entire thing gets dropped at that stage, and that's it. That's it. If there is any demand to be collected from the dealer, they have to take up the action under the section 73 or 74. And this procedure starts from the issue of DRC 1A. Once the DRC 1A is issued, then the process under section 73 or 74, that is the determination of the tax payable, is going to begin. And you can reply at that stage. Even at that stage, you can contest the findings, and you can litigate on that issue.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Santosh. Manish, can you please unmute Sunil Ballala?
You can speak up.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, Sunil. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Sir, I have two queries. One is related to GST refund. First, I'll ask that one of my client, he exported goods as well as services in July 2017, sir, with payment of tax. While exporting of goods, the customs have wrongly selected and applied for some kind of benefit. So the total refund what the client supposed to get is 9,66,798. Because the customs while uploading the document, they have selected a wrong tab by selecting saying that they are not applying for refund. They got duty drawback of 26,000 something. So almost 9 lakh worth of GST refund is on hold. So I have approached customs department also. This case is with state government. So how can this be solved, sir?
You should have filed an appeal first, sir, within the time due date, because you are aggrieved by the lesser refund. Therefore, you should have filed the appeal, and from there you should have taken an order of appellate authority for that. Or you should have applied for a mistake apparent and record, and if that is only a mistake, it is on the face of the record, then ask for a correction, and that has to be done. But now you are telling that it is in 2022 we are, and I think all the issues, which you can just bring the case to us, we will see whether anything can be done on that issue. Because
So
even
yes,
even
should
2
I
years of limitation is also expired. 2 years
Yes,
of
sir.
limitation is also over for refund. Therefore, you have to, appeal time is also over. Rectification you can try, sir. It has to be done by the same officer who has passed the order, if it is rectification. But appeal we have to file within 3 months. And I don't know whether we can help you in this issue. But
because the amount involved is 9.5 lakhs, so it is outstanding.
agreed, sir. But we should have taken the remedial action immediately, no? Because the time limitations are there. If you file an appeal, it should have been filed within 3 months from the date of order. That is also over, and it is
So there is
only
no
you can
order
think of
copy or
rectification. You can think of rectification, sir.
Okay, I'll come and meet you. And next is
What
is the stand on 2A versus 3B for 17, 18, 18, 19, sir? Because during audit and enforcement, so there's a clear saying that 2A versus 3B, we will issue the demand. You need to pay or go for appeal. So lot of clients during 17, 18, 19, 19 who did business, now they are in winding up liquidation position also. And department
sir,
officials.
2A. You don't bother about 2A. First thing is, as per section 16, first of all, one of the condition I already explained to you, the ITC, credit to the ITC ledger is in the nature of a refund of the tax paid at the earlier stage, for which there are conditions. In one of the condition is the supplier should have paid the tax to the government. Unless or until somebody pays to me, I can't give it. It is a transaction between the supplier and the recipient, and the recipient has paid to the supplier. The supplier has to pay to the government, and he has the issue in the tax invoice itself is a proof of payment to the recipient. Payment of tax to the government, that is the recipient. Once he pays the tax and he files it in his Gstr1, it gets reflected in his Gstr2A. The very reflection of any invoice in the Gstr 2A is a proof that the tax has been paid to the government on the invoice. If that is not reflected in your 2A, that means the supplier has not paid the tax on that invoice which he has collected, and it's hence it is not declared. The tax is not paid to the government. Hence, the department is not you are not eligible to claim the ITC on that. If you have got a proof that it has been paid, you can always file an appeal against the order of the assessing authority before the appellate authority and prove that the GST, or before the assessing authority itself, that the tax has been paid to the government and that's proof of that. You have to, the burden of proving that is on you, because you are the person who is claiming that. Therefore, one thing that you have to go before the authority who has issued the notice, and you have to prove your credentials for the claiming of the ITC, either at the audit stage or assessment stage or at the appeal stage. But if he has not paid the tax, you can't claim it as a matter of right. You can always take up a civil action against the supplier because it amounts to fraud, because he has collected the tax from you purporting to be the tax which he has to pay to the government, and if he has not paid, it's a fraud on you as well as.
Sir, here my question is, assessee can file only civil suit, whereas department can file a criminal case. So why not department is taking up that matter?
The problem is both the problem is in majority of these type of cases, both the supplier and the recipient are in connivance. That is the cause for the entire bogus transaction, fake billing rackets which are happening throughout the country. Therefore, you can always, if your genuine transaction is there, you have got. I am not saying that you have got a definite recourse. You can take up a civil action against them. You can also report to us. We will also really interested in collecting the tax because it has been charged in our name. Therefore, we will definitely take action against the supplier. If he is available, we will definitely collect. Once it is collected, you will definitely get the proof for having paid the tax, and you can always claim the ITC. This is basically you have to make that. You have to make a claim. You have to report that. This is precisely, sir, why we have been telling to the dealers that please report the transaction if your suppliers are not uploaded the invoice in their Gstr1, and if it is not reflected in your Gst2a. None, we have not received almost crores of invoices have been uploaded. Hardly we have received some few, say tens or hundreds of such complaints where the people recipients have reported these transactions that they have really definitely claimed purchased this goods or services, and we have got the invoice in our possession, and those people have not filed the return. This is the basic problem. Now you are, after 4 or 5 years, you are telling that that supplier has not paid the tax and I have genuinely paid the revenue. But we presume that, basically we presume that the dealer has not paid the tax, and we will go accordingly because that's the law. Therefore, but at least you could have report that matter to your local authority or the GST authority, and if some action had been taken immediately, we would have taken the action immediately to collect that amount. Because of the business interest, I can understand a lot of business interests are there. They will be a very good supplier or a very good recipient of your supplier, very good customer of yours. You don't want to be on the bad side of that person. And the majority of the people don't report because of the business concerns, not for any legal issues. Therefore, they don't take action. Legal action also they don't take. They don't even report those matters to the department, and all of a sudden when their ITC gets restricted or blocked or denied, then they start shouting that my I have paid the tax and it is not my problem. It is not. That is the mistake of that person. I should be allowed the ITC. And in these type of issues, no, it is very difficult for any officer to allow the ITC when it has not come to the treasury, to the government's account. This is basically, that is precisely what is there in 16.
Thank you, Sunil. I think we run out of time. So I think many more questions also there. So since we already crossed the time, I think we'll close. Sir, you have time?
Yeah, naturally, I have got a lot of work.
Normally, we start on time and close on time. Since it is you are available here, normally not available for my members. That is the reason I'm requesting. If you have time, 2 more people raise the hand. We'll allow them.
Yeah,
to speak.
you can ask.
Otherwise, we'll
You can
close.
ask. They can ask 2 more questions. Let us.
Yeah, Sriman Narayana, you can please unmute Manish.
So Sriman Narayan is not there. TR Yatish is.
Yeah, TR Yatish, you unmute. Because when we have a rare opportunity, better use it for the benefit of my members. That is the only purpose. Otherwise, we normally start and close on time.
Always join again, sir. There's no issue.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Yatish. Go ahead.
My fact is somewhat similar to earlier case, sir. In case of IGST, by mistake, we have accounted 18% GST as 28% in our accounting module. And accordingly, we have paid and uploaded in our output supply. But actual invoice value is 18 and 28. Also, it has both the component. My customer has paid actual invoice value. Whereas we have uploaded everything under 28% and we have paid more tax to government. So since it all happened in the initial days of GST rollout, generally in between the 17, 18 and 19. So what is the remedy available, sir? As of now, it's all lying in our receivable.
Sir, it is time is lapsed here because of the reason that if it is 17, 18, you had time to make the correction entries before the finalization of the return of the September of the next year, next financial year. You should have raised a credit note up to March 19 for 16, 17, 18, it was up to March 19. You could have raised a credit note and accounted it, and the person who has claimed the ITC on that, he will issue, he will, he will reverse the ITC if he has taken. If it is not taken, then he will authenticate that proof, and then you could have claimed the ITC back. The tax back as excess payment, and which you could have adjusted. Since all these things have been over and there is a time limit for making this correction entries is over, I don't think there is any opportunity available for making that entry, correction entry now, because if it is related to 17, 18. Sorry for telling this, but that's the reason, sir, why we always tell to the practitioners as well as the dealers is, please read the law. In case if you have to make the correction entries, the law allows you to make the correction entries, but please do it within the time. In case if you don't do within the time, you will lose the opportunity, you will lose the benefit, whatever you have to, and you end up in paying the tax for non-compliance, not an evasion, but non-compliance. And the honorable courts have also held that when an opportunity is given, if you don't use that opportunity, then you can't make that claim. Therefore, all claims and all, all claims, all corrections, they have all got a time limit. I request you people, because you are the link between the traders, the taxpayers and the department. Please make them aware of this type of things, because it can be very costly. It can be very costly for the trade. Unnecessarily, they will be put up into very big hardships, especially a 16.4 liability. 16.4 is one area where if you ignore it, you are going to be penalized heavily in terms of cash flow, or in terms of profitability of your entire business is concerned. Sometimes the business may collapse because of this. If the profit itself is around 1 or 2%, and if you lose 5 or 10, 18% on one or very big, huge invoices, then it is going to be very difficult for the business to survive in this in that scenario. Therefore, please advise, wherever there are time limits, please adhere to the time limits and make the correction entries. And in case if you got aggrieved for any order or any issue, you please make an appeal or file.
Certainly, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we covered all the questions. On behalf of Bangalore branch and on behalf of all the participants here, our wholehearted thanks to Dr. Raviprasad He has spared his precious time and valuable knowledge with us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Our wholehearted thanks
Thank
to
you, sir.
CA Annapurna Kabra. Thank you very much, madam. Again, your precious time and valuable knowledge is shared with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, you are the reason for this program. Your overwhelming response and your active participation made this program a successful one. Almost 1 hour we have in Q&A only, and all your questions our additional commissioner answered in detail very happily. Thank you very much, participants. Please regularly visit Bangalore ICA website and participate in all our programs. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.